There was a speech that was given by Winston Churchill right after his predecessor went to Munich, got a letter signed, and came back and waved it at an airport in England, which was completely meaningless. The speech was, "The era of procrastination is over, a period of consequences has begun." That applies to all of us. The time for procrastination is over. There has to be a period of consequences for our past procrastination, which has resulted in the impossibly painful situation that has taken place on the LAC. And now there has to be a period of consequences for China. All of us are stakeholders in that cause. You sitting at home have an opportunity to boycott Chinese goods, for which you need to know what are the Chinese goods, for which we need to have a boycott China charter. A slogan is not enough. The political parties of the day must question the government, fair enough, but after they've done questioning the government, they must come up with their own resolution or charter of what their plan of action will be. Will every single political party be over here be leading the cause of boycotting Chinese goods? What will they be doing? All of these questions have to be asked and answered. Let me pose that question now. Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee joining us on the broadcast. Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee, I'm just giving you a simple premise, ma'am. A few weeks ago, a political party, the Labour Party in the UK, which is not a political party in power, holds a conference in which they pass a resolution on Jammu and Kashmir. 100 of their MPs, or just shy of 100 of their MPs, then start writing letters, resolutions to the EU Human Rights Commission and this body and that body. Now, if those people who are not in government, are not in power, can feel that they are fit to raise their voice on India, what is stopping us from those in our political ranks who might not be in power but hold constitutional posts in raising their voice?
Yes, Rishabh. Well, what happened in the Labour Party is because their anti-India MEPs of the European Parliament who went back to England after Brexit happened are now feeling very homesick because they can no longer raise these issues within the European Parliament. They are out of the European Parliament. So they are trying desperately and making a fool of themselves, writing letters to people about, these are all people with a virulent anti-Indian agenda. Now, I don't suggest that we should do that. I think we should have an orchestrated campaign.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. I think some developments coming in. Okay, we're getting shots. Can we listen to this? Do we have Nat on this, PCR? PCR? Okay, we don't have audio. Those are the shots of the teleconference that is going on. You can see the Foreign Affairs Minister, the Defence Minister, of course, the Prime Minister there. I think that was Sonia Gandhi addressing that all-party meeting. That's Jagan Reddy there. You can see Uddhav Thackeray with him, and these are the members. You can see Amit Shah, the Home Minister there, Mamata Banerjee, the Finance Minister, that's Rajnath Singh briefing, and this is what's happening inside right now. The meeting hasn't concluded. We'll update you, and as soon as the meeting is concluded, Ambassador Mukherjee, sorry to interrupt you. Just the simple premise of it is the duty of an opposition to seek and ask questions of the government of the day and to demand transparency, which is what I'm hoping that they are being given a background briefing and being made privy to certain details that the rest of us might not know, fair enough. But after having sought questions from the government of India, what is the question that these should be seeking in a united front from the government of China?
Well, the first question that I would have raised in that meeting would be to request the Cabinet Committee on Security to meet and change the rules of combat which are presently there, so that when we are attacked in this manner, we are allowed to use our weapons. This is an agreement we've had with the Chinese for a very long time, and this is the first time it's been transgressed on their side. Now their argument is they have not used a weapon as such. That's true, we also did not, but they used a heinous weapon in a way against our unarmed soldiers. We were armed, but we were not allowed to use our arms. Now that protocol can only be changed by the Cabinet Committee on Security. That should be done right away. As far as the opposition is concerned, they should understand that the problem with China went back, long time back, long before the present government was in power. Many of the protocols which we worked out with the Chinese were worked out mutually when other governments were in power. And the reason was to ensure that a small skirmish would not become a major war.
Okay, no, let me.
That
Okay, so
being
let
said,
me,
now
let me,
things
no,
have
ma'am,
changed.
let me boil it down from lip service, and lip services. You know, we are very sad, we are very upset, we condole, and then the questioning. Why didn't you tell us? Why were they unarmed? Why did you not say this?
They were unarmed because of the agreement. I'm very surprised that Rahul Gandhi asked such a silly question.
He's welcome to ask the question. I don't have a problem people asking questions. In fact, that's my job is to ask questions.
Silly question,
So you can ask silly questions, no problem. But you ask the questions, you've done the lip service. Now the premise becomes is beyond that, what is the message that we are expecting these responsible political leaders to be telling their prime minister? Forget that he's the BJP's Modi, he's your prime minister. What is the message that should be going to the Indian prime minister?
The message should be that we are, as a united people, on this issue. We should boycott their goods. We should give them pain where it hurts. That's economically, that's politically. We should work out a strategy to embarrass them diplomatically. We should look at all the weak spots they have, and they have plenty at the moment. You outlined yesterday 7 areas, which you could repeat today if you wish. Rishabh, they were very good, and it's been all over the social media. And we should actually look at those points and see how, as a united India, we can take it forward. So I think this all-party meeting was a great initiative on the part of PM. And certainly, if the opposition has some questions about why our chaps could not use their weapons, it gives a good opportunity for Jay Shankar,
okay. To answer them. Let me get in Comrade Jijay Singh on this. Comrade Jijay Singh, it is of course the duty and responsibility of the opposition parties to be raising questions, seeking clarification and demanding transparency. After having done that and satisfied themselves that they have been shown the respect and trust as seasoned political members and constitutional post holders, what then is the responsibility of all these individuals to send a message of unity?
You see, first of all, I must endorse the stand which has been taken by the government, by the Prime Minister, because he is now settling all the doubts by calling everybody for this all-party meeting, because a lot of bad will was being created because they were not called by the Prime Minister or for any meeting. But out here now, by taking them into confidence, I think the government has shown wisdom, because this is the time when we are required to be unified. We are required to portray an image of one nation, because when we are unified and united against a country like China, only then can we send a strong message to them. Because at this point in time in the world, we are facing
how do we reflect it? Simply visuals of a meeting.
Unity,
is it reflective? Do we need to have an all-party resolution? Should we have a virtual session of parliament for a parliamentary resolution? What is the concrete thing that we can come out of this rather than a soundbite and then everybody goes home?
No, I think, as you very rightly said, there should be a resolution. There should be all-party one statement saying that we stand behind the government as far as this confrontation with China is concerned. This is very important at this point.
At least a unified statement, joint statement. Ambassador Mukherjee knows a lot about joint statements. I'll come to you on that. Colonel Shailendra Singh, I know I have to let you go, but before you go, if nothing, a joint statement that we all agree on. We condemn Chinese aggression, not condole the incident. Condolences for the family. Condemnation of Chinese aggression, unlike what we have seen in the CPM letter and the CPI letter, where they have offered all condolences but no condemnation of Chinese aggression. We condemn Chinese aggression on Indian occupied territory in Galwan and the killing of these 20 Indian soldiers who are our heroes and martyrs. We can draft it. Not very difficult. Colonel Shailendra Singh.
It's not at all difficult. Where there is a will, there is always a way. And as far as condemning is concerned, it should not get limited only to condemnation. What is condemnation? Nothing. The incident has already taken place. Right. write a letter to the President of China, write a letter to the United Nations, write a letter to every damn place which can damage China to the correct way, expose China through all our embassies which are abroad, educate all those countries, bring out the facts to them, so that this, what China is trying to pretend, that nothing happens.
I have one more humble suggestion. One more humble suggestion. Now, at this point of time, Gautam Mukherjee, there have been a lot of political leaders who have been holding these virtual interviews and conferences, which is a great idea. Now, can we suggest to them that for their next virtual conference, that they invite maybe the senior leadership from Taiwan, that maybe they invite the president of the Tibetan administration here in India, maybe they invite the president of the Uyghur World Congress, rather than having the Americans and economists doing India bashing, which is fine. As a democracy, we absorb all of that. Let us use their conferences to connect with people who think well of India. What's the harm of that?
I think it's a very good idea. I know NewsX does a good deal of this, and I really appreciate it, because you are one of the few people who put these people on TV for the rest of us, including the Tibetan Prime Minister in exile. Gives us some idea of what they are thinking. And mostly these people are voiceless because they're powerless. As far as going back to this resolution, I really like the idea of a parliamentary resolution. One will come out right because of the brute majority. Therefore, I expect a decent resolution to come out, even if it's a joint session, virtual or otherwise, that condemns China in precise terms over exactly what it has been doing. This talk of not carrying weapons, I think, applied to Doklam. From the start over here,
in all places. I've had so many conversations that they don't carry weapons, they are under instruction not even to lift their hand over their head. These are known things.
Right.
Now those protocols...
We saw that it was cute in Doklam, but they came from day one to cause injury, and they were carrying deadly weapons. They may not be shooting you, but imagine hitting somebody with a club with barbed wire all over it. This is unfit for any national army. This is a Pakistani terrorist would balk at this. Even he wouldn't do it.
Okay, I'm trying to boil it down. Let me get Ambassador Mukherjee on that. Ambassador Mukherjee, for this meeting to have some purpose other than a background briefing. Background briefing, no harm in that. It's a very important thing. But to have some purpose, should we at least expect a joint statement to come out from this meeting that this is what our position is as the political leadership of this country, and then let people like the Honorable D. Rajaji of the CPI take a decision whether he wants to sign that joint statement of condemnation of China or not. Let him take the decision that I choose to affix my signature or I do not choose to affix my signature.
I think that the communists would definitely have to sign it. They will sign it. I think a joint statement is a great idea. And I think in that joint statement, we should indicate that we respected on our side the rules of combat worked out more than 27 years ago, because of which there has not been a single killing on the LOC, on the line of actual control, LAC, since 1975.
Correct.
And that we sent our men in with instructions to respect those rules of combat. And all these years, what has happened is that there has been some shoving and pushing around with shoulders. And you're quite right, you're not supposed to use your hands. And since they came with these weapons, as Gautam Mukherjee has pointed out, it has to be made very clear that there will be no next time. This is the last time that this is going to happen. That we respected the rules of combat, and as a result, we lost so many men. So that should be indicated in the joint resolution, that India will change its rules of combat because the other side does not respect a gentleman's agreement. And that's very important for the Chinese to be told as a P5 country that they are not gentlemen They don't respect.
Behaving like
A
barbarians.
gentleman
That's the Roman
at
word
a
is
high
barbarians.
school-
Commodore Jijay Singh, just come in on this. I'm just trying to educate a conversation of what is it that we can do. We all have choices to make. You have a choice to make that the next TV you buy, is it going to be Chinese or not? It's a choice. Now, should you have a free choice? Absolutely, you live in a free country. Nobody should be telling you that if you buy a Chinese TV, we have a problem with you. But it's your choice to make. That's my choice to make. So we have leaders, political leaders, and they've had the opportunity now to question the government and seek a clarification. Now I am asking, what is the question that they should be raising from Beijing, and what is the most effective, united front approach to doing this?
Rishabh, you will well appreciate that all media houses are not heard in China. China is not their audience. None of our, TV channel is streamed over there, is broadcast there. All is banned. What you do in our country, what we do in our country, passing joint resolutions and the issuing of statements and all that political drama that takes place in this country, has no meaning when it is compared with a country which is totally communist. It is not a democratic country. China is totally ruled by one party, Communist Party of China, and its boss is Xi Jinping.
Yes.
That's all.
So, Commodore Jijay Singh, so help me answer. If at the end of this meeting all we get is a few sound bites, okay, or a couple of tweets, what I'm expecting is going to happen that a few people will send out tweets,
Yes.
and then subsequently they'll post their own video messages on Twitter, which we'll all run for you, and those will be, yes, we were told, we raised, some will say we support government, some will say we raised this question, and that's it, done and dusted. I am asking.
Yes.
That
It's
what
done
is
and
the call to action? There has to be a call to action. What is the call to action, and what's the most effective way for a democracy to issue a call to action? Should it be a virtual parliament session, doing a parliamentary resolution? What should we do?
You see, in a country like ours, I think a parliament resolution is the best thing to do, because everybody is there. This is a forum which is the highest in our country. This is something which is supreme. But the right thing is already being done by the government. That is a power projection on the front. That is a message, the language in which we are speaking for Chinese and understood by Chinese. That is what is being already done by this government.
Okay, so let's know again. Everything in the world is not army's job, government's job.
Correct.
All those sacrifices at Galwan are meaningless if in 3 months our trade deficit with China goes up instead of going down. All those are meaningless if all these Chinese brands are sold out on e-commerce platforms the day they list a new laptop. All of it is meaningless. Those debts are meaningless. We have failed those debts if that is the situation. Sumit Peer, come in on this. There has to be a call to action. This empty, vacuous territory we need to exit from. What should be that call to action? I'm talking about a resolution, joint statement, virtual session of parliament. What do we do?
Rishabh, the minimum of minimum, because it's a serious issue. If these leaders are going, they go there from I'll start with the pretext. Everybody has an authority to ask questions to the government. You are given this platform. Please go and ask all your questions to the government. Now, what is your responsibility? Because we know with every authority, there's a responsibility which follows. I think this meeting is useless unless and until we have a joint statement which the leaders of all parties, on behalf of their party, should sign. They should not leave that meeting without signing that virtually or whatever. There are 6 tangible points. First of all, China should vacate our territory. This was aggression of China vis-a-vis India and Galwan. You have killed our 20 bravehearts by deceit. It is treachery. Right? We hold every right to retaliate now because all the agreements are null and void. Point number 5, we hold utmost responsibility, we hold utmost trust in the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister and the military leadership of this country. This is the 6 points which we should sign, agree and settle. Without these 6 points, this will be a chai samosa party, unfortunately. other moving.
Well, they're not meeting.
It's 6 points.
It's a virtual meeting, so the chai samosa is colloquial in this case. But nonetheless, you can, okay. Now we can't hear what's happening. This for obvious reasons, but you can clearly see the defense minister, the external affairs minister are briefing everyone who's joined into this virtual teleconference. You can see Sharad Pawar there speaking, so he'll be raising his concerns and queries and his position. And every single person is speaking, the opportunity to raise your concerns and reveal your position. Now at the end of this, we will find out who said what, right? A political leader, a chief minister said this. We'll find out snippets of who said what, perfectly fine. But then what? Then what? And I'm asking that then what question for a particular reason. Now, it is important that we ask and answer these questions, Gautam Mukherjee, of converting things into actionables. For too long in this country, we have just been talking. We are epic gas bags. Okay, media people included. I hold my hand up that we love talking and we don't come up with actionables. At a certain stage, we have to say, okay, something is broken. If after all this, we can't cancel a government contract on some Shanghai tunneling corporation because some ADB has some problem, the ADB can go jump in a lake. We don't want the Chinese tunneling and building the Delhi Meerut corridor. Unless we turn into actionables and find reasons for not to do anything, it serves no purpose.
Well, one thing we have to learn from the Chinese is how to ignore a solemn treaty, how to treat a piece of paper with a signature with contempt. Now, if we can't cancel it because ADP, in your example, said something, we just sit on it. We're very good at that. The Indian bureaucracy is first class. It neither goes up nor down nor nowhere. But the point about all of this is that they have asked for a Doklam type response and they are probably going to get it. Let me remind you what the opposition was doing after Doklam. They spent months, first of all, saying we rigged it. The government rigged it in order to win the elections. Two, that it really didn't happen by, anybody from outside. It was internal, just like the ISI line. Third, what did you blow up? The garden? And so on and so forth. And they were responsible politicians of 30 years standing in politics. You remember the names, and they went on and on and on and on. And that is the quality
Again, Gautam
of the
Mukherjee,
opposition
I am standing by their right to say all sorts of things that they choose to say, and people can then take them to town for it. I am saying that you cannot simply be questioning India and have no question to raise on the aggressor, and that's where you fail your national duty. I'm going to read you a paragraph. This is the Labour Party resolution. The Labour Party, not in power in the United Kingdom. Jeremy Corbyn, a much maligned man in the United Kingdom. This is what the resolution says. The conference urges the Labour Party to ask Jeremy Corbyn or ensure someone from the Labour Party is represented to attend the UNHRC. What business does the Labour Party, which is the political party, have in attending the UNHRC? We don't know, but that's what it says. To demand the restoration of basic human rights, including freedom of speech, etc., on Kashmir. It goes on to say, accept that Kashmir is a disputed territory, and the people of Kashmir should be given the right of self-determination in accordance with UN resolutions. So, Gautam Mukherjee, if the Labour Party of the UK can do this resolution and on the basis of it get its MPs to start shooting off letters, what is stopping the Congress Party or the LJP, the BJP, the Shiv Sena from doing the same? Where are their resolutions?
Let me remind you that part of why the British, Labour or Conservative, or the Mayor for that matter, take positions is because they have quite a diaspora and a vote bank of Indians and Pakistanis and Kashmiris and so forth in their own houses. And they are catering partially to them.
So, Mukherjee, so you are saying Labour has become a Pakistani party? You are right. It has become a Pakistani party, and that's for the Britishers to figure out their problems.
No,
I am saying
but
if they can have the gumption to do this, why can't we have the gumption to do the same?
They've always done this: divide and rule, create a problem, then solve it, and this kind of thing. Now, if our opposition is up to snuff, they're welcome to try. But most of these guys are living off the government, blaming the government, little frustrated because they can't get the commissions they used to get.
Okay, Master Mukherjee wants to make a point. Ma'am, go ahead.
I wanted to say that before the Narendra Modi government came to power, there was a general political consensus among Indian political parties that we have a united foreign policy that we support together. It was only recently that the Congress party decided to indulge in the kind of divisive politics that Gautam Mukherjee has outlined. And that was actually very demoralizing also to our armed forces, that our own people are questioning what happened, as if they are Pakistanis are not a serious Indian political party.
No, but ma'am, my question is simple. My question is simple. Fair enough. Ambassador Mukherjee, my question is simple. If you can get a former US envoy to India to do a woe is me conversation about where India is headed, fine. What is stopping you from getting a Tibetan leader speaking with the Dalai Lama about the situation in Tibet and what the Chinese do? Nothing is stopping you. That's the option.
Nothing is stopping us. I am saying I don't want the Congress party, which loves to fish in troubled waters, to now start shooting foolish letters to various people because their questions are usually very
you don't
foolish.
trust the letters.
I would like a letter to go from all political parties,
Fair
like
enough.
you said, like a joint statement. And the joint statement should authorize the government of the day, the Prime Minister Modi government, to send these letters. I don't want the Congress party and the CPM and all to send letters.
Okay, good, great.
Pressure.
So we are moving forward. So we are saying that there should be a resolution. That resolution should be signed by all political parties. The resolution should state that we empower the government of India to pass this resolution to aid these bodies and foreign governments on the behalf of the representatives of the people of India. We are sitting here in the course of 45 minutes, coming together with a plan of action. I am certain that highly competent, capable and intelligent people who have far more experience in dealing with political affairs should be able to do the same. Commodore Jijay Singh, come in. So we are coming together with a call of action. How is this not a reasonable call to action, sir?
So on to add to what you just said, what is stopping us from taking Dalai Lama, who is one of the most revered, respected leader in the world, to come and speak on our behalf or to say something about this confrontation? He is the one who is heard around the globe.
Commodore Jijay Singh, we had a Tibetan activist joining us from London yesterday, and he said, I will fight for India. I will go and fight for India. Give me the chance and I will go and fight for you against China. Now, if you give him the voice, then he can say it. If you choose not to give him the voice, as we have done for many years, then the person can't say it. So this is a choice. I am saying, what is the exercising of the choice in a consensus? There seems to be a building consensus on this panel that let there be a joint statement or a joint resolution that is of political parties, ideally of parliament, and we can find some way of doing it, that empowers the government in the behalf of the representatives of the people of India to write a letter addressing maybe both the government of China and maybe the people of China, that you have to decide whether you support your government in these misadventures. Let's take this up.
The UN Secretary General also.
Yeah, you see, Rishabh.
Yes, so go ahead.
You are absolutely right. There's nothing wrong in it. You tell me what is wrong in it? Nothing. We are also giving voice to the people who are speechless. We bring them on board and we allow them to voice their opinion, voice their decision, voice their whatever they want to say. And there is nothing wrong in it, because China, you see, my whole idea is that what we decide here needs to be also put into the heart and mind of China, Chinese leadership. They should understand. They seems to have become double blinded. They seem to have become deaf. They don't hear to us. They do what they think is right. They don't pay attention to our, you see, you have seen recently, all our agreements, 5 of them which have been made, have been thrown into the dustbin. They don't respect LAC.
No, they never will. I began this broadcast, Commodore GJ Singh, by quoting Churchill on Chamberlain. That letter which he brought back from Munich was meaningless. The era of procrastination is over. The period of consequences has begun. We are in the period of consequences. Now we have a choice. There are certain things that we can't do overnight, but there are some things we can do. It will be appalling to now note that a Chinese company can list a laptop on an Indian e-commerce site and be sold out within a few minutes. There's a problem there which needs to be fixed. In Andhra Pradesh, all 4 seats, expectedly, but all 4 seats have gone for Jagan Reddy's YSRCP. They swept the Rajya Sabha poll, so that's 4 more seats done. Remember, the 4 seats in Karnataka have already been decided uncontested. 1 seat out of Arunachal Pradesh already decided, excuse me, already decided uncontested, and now 4 more seats have been decided in Andhra Pradesh. Lokesh, my colleague, joining us. Lokesh, who has now become the members of parliament of the YRCP into the Rajya Sabha from Andhra Pradesh?
Yes, 4 candidates from Andhra Pradesh belonging to YSRCP have won the elections, and the candidate fielded by TDP was defeated. And moreover, Telugu Party has 23 MLAs, but he got only 17. That is also a big blow to the TDP. And 4 members, Ayodhya Ramireddy, a big industrialist and the chairman of Ramki Group of Companies, and Piramal, he is also a big industrialist from Mumbai. He is the vice president of Reliance Group of Companies, one from YSRCP, and another 2 OBC candidates, P. Subhash Chandra Bose as well as Mopade Venkatramana. 4 of them won the 4 seats which were allocated to Andhra Pradesh. Now YSRCP's strength in Rajya Sabha rose from 2 to 6.
Okay, the interesting bit of information Lokeshwar has just given us that at least 6 MLAs of the TDP have cross-voted in the Rajya Sabha elections because they've only managed to secure 17 votes when they should have gotten 23. So that's worse news for the TDP and Chandrababu Naidu. Bottom line being that's 4 more seats left gone. We're expecting about 10 or so to be decided in the course of the next hour or 2, and that will conclude the Rajya Sabha elections which were pending for those 18 odd seats at this point of time. 4 more from Andhra concluded. I mentioned 4 from Karnataka were concluded a few days ago, and the one from Arunachal Pradesh went uncontested. As things stand, the position is that the BJP is sending 3 more faces to the Rajya Sabha, 1 from the JDS, former Prime Minister Devagowda, 1 from the Congress, former leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, and 4 from the YSRCP. This is the position right now. We'll update you as more details come in. Let's get back to the all-party meeting, which is about to conclude, the virtual meeting that is going on as we speak right now, in which the Home Minister, the Defence Minister, the External Affairs Minister and the Prime Minister are taking in questions from all the senior party leaders as well as chief ministers of respective states. You can see Nitish Kumar there, you see Jagan Reddy there, you can see the TRS leader K. Chandrasekhar Rao over there, all attending this. Now after this, what should be the status quo? Ambassador Mukherjee wants to come in, and let me get Gautam Mukherjee back in. Ambassador, go ahead.
I was saying, Rishabh, that apart from the joint statement or the main elements of which you have outlined, there should be a separate action plan. And in that action plan attached to the joint statement, there should be a clear call for boycott of Chinese goods, and we should not leave it to people to decide, because unfortunately, as I discovered also during the lockdown, that if you leave too many things for people to decide, then sometimes it doesn't exactly go the way you want it to go. So we have to work out a mechanism by which we are not taken to task by the WTO, but we have to ensure that we hurt the Chinese economy, and to do that with the help of trade experts and international trade lawyers, we have to work out a process by which we can actually boycott Chinese goods.
Okay,
Bring down the
and
deficit
frankly,
and admit where it hurts.
And frankly, the resolution can state that we back the call of the boycott of Chinese goods. Okay?
Yes.
Let that
absolutely.
united resolution go. There's no reason, there's nothing political here. And again,
No.
and I'm sorry to say this again and again, you can disagree with me, but again, Mr. D. Raja of the CPI, Mr. Sitaram Yechuri of the CPM can then decide whether they support the boycott of Chinese goods or not. It's their decision. They're free to make a decision. But it is for us to know what that decision is. Breaking developments coming in. We've got first details of what is happening in that all-party meeting. We are being told that Mamata Banerjee is expressing support in protecting the territorial integrity of India. What she has communicated is 22 years TMC has supported government on all diplomatic and strategic issues. The TMC stays consistent, but she is demanding transparency from the central government on the situation, and she's also demanding sharing of information with all leaders. Perfectly reasonable. Tapas, my colleague, joining us. Tapas, demanding transparency, demanding sharing of information is perfectly reasonable on the premise that a united support has been given to the government of India, not BJP's government of India, to take a decision on China.
Well, yes, absolutely, Rishabh. At this hour of need, this is a minimum that you would expect from a stalwart leader like Mamata Banerjee, and she have always been very vocal against the BJP government. But before she went to the meeting, she made it very clear that that it's about the integrity of the country, the sovereignty of the country. And as far as Mamata Banerjee as a leader is concerned, her party stands in solidarity with all those brave hearts and stands united with the central government in whatever decision the government takes. There is no tutu-mama between the parties or the center or state relationship. It's about one country, and the contention was very clear. Only she requested that there should be a regular flow of information, if not in public domain.
No,
but
okay, fair enough. We'll get more information on this as details come in. Thank you very much, Tapas Sen Gupta, for joining us on that conversation. Sumit Peer, the only premise of the conversation that I've been having for an hour and 40 minutes is that this is perfectly fair. Just do the one step further of condemning Chinese aggression and having a call to action. One step further we're asking from politicians, not a lot.
Rishabh, I missed on the last 6 point. I had a 7th point which I missed. The 7th point was we should now identify strategic sectors where we would say no to all kinds and type of Chinese investment. That's point number 1. Point number 2, Rishabh, which is very important here. When you have 20 of our brave hearts dead by discreet, when we have 20 fires lit across the length and breadth of the country, do you think we give a damn to WTO and FTAs now? We should call it a day, because I am very happy Railway has considered a 450 crore contract for some Chinese company. MP government has done 410, and I think Haryana government has done 110.
No, Sumit, I'm saying it doesn't matter. If the people
matter.
of India
if they kill our soldiers, no,
I had a very long discussion, Sumit, last night on this.
ADB, whatever you call it.
It is up to us. It is up to us to government. Yes, on the ADB point, I agree with you, because government contractuals, if the ADB has a problem, they can cancel the funding to that project. Please go ahead. We will find an alternative source of funding. But if you are insisting that a Chinese company can only build a metro in India, I'm sorry. The Delhi Metro, which was the pioneering metro, was built with Japanese help, not with the Chinese help. I'd rather have the Japanese Bank of International Cooperation helping us than anybody who tells us that the Shanghai Tunneling Corporation is the only thing that can build stuff in your country. Let's be clear on this. Okay, Gautam Mukherjee, you heard the subtext of Mamata Banerjee's communication to this. Fair enough. How do we take it one step further?
I fear that almost every leader is going to stand up and say, there is broad support. We agree that this is territorial aggression and something should be done about it. And then nuance it with ifs and buts, transparency, let us know. And this then becomes illustrative of a fact that this is really an information meet. It is neither democratic for a bunch of chief ministers to decide something like this. It should be in Parliament. Every MP should be invited, both houses, A proper resolution should be drafted, there should be a proper vote. And that is the official Indian position. This way, Jagan Reddy said something, but he adds his 2 bits, and so on and so forth. And it really, it's very heartening that they are broadly on the same page.
So let me boil down to the technical question. I don't have a constitutional expert on here. Maybe we can get one on the phone line of having a precedent for having a resolution passed through a virtual session of Parliament, whether it can be done or not. It's not an easy yes or no, because Parliament works on quorums and a voting procedure which is written into law. So you can't just do a online vote or an SMS vote tomorrow.
Issue a whip, everybody turns up. It's quite easy.
This is something that we need to consider, but at least there is consensus that our political party should have a consensus. Comrade Jijay Singh, come in on this point. At the end of this meeting, we are expecting concord and consensus, not tweets and brick batting. Period.
See, what I am looking for it is something which is, as you rightly earlier said, actionable, practical. First of all, I have been hearing all your debate, a lot of people coming with that boycott. Will the big players like Ambani, the Adanis and all those who have, business with China for billions of dollars, will they accept this kind of boycott? We are in this country taking from needle to the biggest machinery, all from China. Is it only for the common man to boycott Chinese things? Isn't it utopian, wishful thinking? You see, I don't know, I don't understand. People seems to only start talking as if they are living in Satyug. अरे भाई कलयुग है ये, इसमें these are utopian ideas. 135 crore people, can be brought unified in this for boycott, where you fight over, I have experience of various channels in this country, 4 different spokespersons, they tear each other's clothes, they debate. And out here we have
there is a particular, again, Comrade Jijay Singh, again, that's a choice.
Is it practical?
There is a reason. It is a very simple thing to do. If you want to do tamasha, get 4 political party spokespersons to just be yelling at each other, and then I really can sip my nimbu pani here and not do anything. It's very easy, but I've made a choice here that this is a political party meeting that is taking place. But there is no political party representative here, just because that's what would have happened. We would have been ripping each other apart rather than coming with a conscionable action plan, which is what I would recommend with hands folded for whoever is listening. Let me get Sumit. Commodore, finish your thought, then I'll open Sumit. Commodore, finish your thought.
I congratulate you on that.
Okay, so Sumit P, getting into this culture of actionable goals rather than empty talk is an important thing, not only for the media, for politicians, for the country at large. I just want to take a second to take on the cause that was just mentioned a few minutes ago of getting political parties in unison to commit to boycott China. If the people of India refuse to buy Chinese products, the WTO, the ADB, their uncles and aunties and mummies and daddies can't do a thing about it if you simply don't want your products.
You are absolutely right, Rishabh. 2, 3 things to it. First of all, when you look at one is what the government has to do, they are already doing their part, what we discussed. Second is the people. In yesterday's debate, I suggested that everything should have a certificate of origin. So if I'm looking at this pen, I know is it from India or is it from China, is it from Taiwan or Timbuktu? So a certificate of origin make it necessary for everybody so that it appeals to my collective conscience that is this pen Indian or it is not. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is when we are looking at Chinese products and all, tell me Rishabh sir, when it's a question of national security, no WTO, no FTA, no ADB, YDB, DDB, nothing is applicable to you. Why? This is a national security concern. Because we are forgetting one thing, with 24 people dead, we have Chinese in our territory. What are we talking here of ADB and UDP? It's a national security, we want to get them out. Like
okay, the bottom line Sumit P is, okay, I boil it down. It is perfectly reasonable, and I don't have a figure, I'm guesstimating here, but it's perfectly reasonable for me to say that a lot of members of our armed forces today in sensitive locations could be using Chinese branded or manufactured mobile phones. because those are the cheapest on the market. Okay, this is a real consideration. It's a real consideration which we can't ignore, and it's heartbreaking if it's all empty rhetoric. If you cannot reduce your trade deficit with China this year, it was completely pointless, not worth talking. All our effort, all Sonam Wangchuk and everything, we should all go into retirement because it was completely pointless. Gautam Mukherjee, we are coming to the end of the meeting. I know it's an extended one because of the number of people who have to, I think, make their statements. So the briefings have happened, and I don't think question and answer is happening. I think a statement is being read out by pretty much everyone. So after the briefing, everybody reading a statement. I don't know how much of QA is happening in this regard. Once the meeting ends, what must end? I've told you what we can act on, but what must end with it?
I think they are going to do that much, Rishabh. They're going to come out and say thank you very much for talking to us, explaining the situation to us. We are broadly in support of the government. We authorize the government to take this forward. This much they will do. There is a tradition of doing this that, as Ambassador Mukherjee was saying, that goes back many years. They'll do that much. But you poke this any harder, and out will come the nuancing, out will come the points of difference, out will come, I was listening to A.K. Antony, somebody was playing back an old tape in Parliament. He went on and on like a poet about how it is really not okay, they're so much stronger than us, Defense Minister, so much stronger than us, the only thing we can do is make peace, etc. This is the thinking for 60 plus years. We are not doing that kind of thing anymore. There are a lot of people who don't agree that we should stand up to China or Pakistan.
Okay, I've got a few minutes, Gautam Mukherjee, to address this. We are also in the middle of political season, which hasn't stopped. It had stopped for a couple of months, but there are elections coming up in Bihar and potentially, in Bengal a short while later. There have to be at some stage bypolls in Madhya Pradesh. I don't know when it will be logistically feasible for the Election Commission to do it. But that political season hasn't stopped the political party representatives, one of whom happens to be the Home Minister of the country, from raising these issues in a political platform. Should we keep China away from a political platform for a few weeks?
Are you asking me?
Yes, Mr. Mukherjee, yes.
I don't think this is possible. This is the issue of the day. We have come to a watershed. Several people describe the 15th as a watershed. Now, if we pussyfoot around now, we're doomed because China means business and so does Pakistan, and they are going for the jugular. Either we stand up and survive at a minimum.
No, my question was different. My question was different. Would it be helpful, Ambassador Mukherjee, if we just, because a lot of the reasoning that is given to me by members of opposition parties is that if you raise this issue from a political podium, we are free to counter you and then ask questions of you. So should we keep Galwan, LAC, China border out of the political podium for a few weeks?
Not at all. In fact, you began by saying what Winston Churchill brought back. Actually, that Munich was the era of appeasement, which has been the same thing in India for 60 years. So end of appeasement, that is what we want. That's why you quoted Munich. And I wanted to say in the short time that we have, that there's no question of keeping her out of the political debate. Let every politician come out and say that he's proud to be an Indian, that he mourns the death of 20 Indians killed in cold blood in violation of a gentleman's agreement, which is more than 30 years old.
By him, but yes, you should call for more meetings to inform us what's the live situation over there at Ladakh.
Okay, so now let's discuss the premise of this. Gautam Mukherjee, to ask specific questions on what was the position before the 5th, what was it after, what discussions did you have, what discussions did you not have. Now raising questions, I don't see a problem with that. Asking for more regular updates, I don't particularly see a problem with that. My only reasonable question here is that along with this, why are we being reticent in condemning Chinese aggression?
That is the stated position of the Congress party. It has always feared any kind of criticism of China. As you know, there is the memorandum of understanding between the Congress Party and the Communist Party of China signed in 2008. They regularly go and visit the Chinese embassy, the entire Congress leadership, the Gandhis in strength, including the Vadras. They were there during Doklam. I don't know if they were there after Balakot, but I wouldn't be surprised. This is ridiculous, which is why I said right at the outset that to expect anything but a broad brush support, which he has included in there, for the government of India is asking for too much. If you want a proper resolution, you do it in a formal manner at the parliament with everybody
so
voting.
let's reduce this. Ambassador Mukherjee, you know where this is boiling down to. I'm going to pose a question, ma'am, and then make your point. This is now going to become a debate about we sanctioned the Mountain Strike Corps in 2013 and you didn't make it. You know where this is going. This is what it's going to boil down to.
And meanwhile, the house is burning.
I wanted to say, Rishabh, that it is extremely unfortunate that the Congress Party should decide to ask questions which relate to India's national security and whose answers cannot be made public in the interest of the nation. So I am very disappointed that Sonia Ji, who's a seasoned politician and whose party has been in power, can even think that any government of the day can answer such questions in public. Secondly, regardless of whatever relationship the Congress Party has with the Chinese, this is not a moment for nitpicking. They have to condemn what happened and they have to pledge that they will do everything. As far as the mountain divisions are concerned, now there's a long story to that, The questions about finances and financial funding were actually raised by the Congress Party when this thing is going forward. So,
no, it's true that, but I'm telling you where this is going to boil down to. Commodore G.J. Singh, at this point of time, raising questions, you're free to do it. It's a free country. You can ask whatever you want. You have to be critical of the government and be questioning of it. That's your job. I have a simple premise. Should we also be condemning Chinese aggression, which we have not seen in this particular statement, that we unanimously condemn Chinese aggression and the Chinese killing of 20 of our soldiers? And will this, within a few hours, will this be a debate about UPA said Mountain Strike Corps, you didn't build it, that's why, if that's where it's headed, sir?
Rishabh, first of all, let me tell you all the points that Mrs. Sonia Gandhi has made are out of the benefit of hindsight. Something has happened. She can tomorrow write a book also on this. But what matters most is far sight as to what is the road ahead. Has she been able to condemn? No, she didn't condemn. It itself is very derogatory on her part. She should have said few words of condemnation of the Chinese aggression. The second thing is she should give some constructive ideas if she has at all, or for that matter any other leader has. They should come out with constructive ideas, practical ideas to give to the government.
Maybe they have, I don't know.
Yes,
I'm not privy whether another letter other than this statement has been shared. Could be, I don't know. It's a simple prima facie question. Questions have been raised by the Congress Party president, which is the principal opposition party in this country. In a democracy, you have the right to raise questions and demand transparency and regular briefings. Fair enough. Has there been a condemnation of China in the statement I've read? No, there hasn't. Is this going to be pivoted into a we approved under UPA Mountain Strike Corps and you did nothing a debate? Probably. Should we be open to be having these debates? Yes. Are there two sides to that story? Yes, they are. All those are fair enough.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.